One Percenter Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
Hey guys, welcome to the One Percenter Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Bakhtiar, and I got my very good friend, somebody I've been wanting to have on the show, Chris Van Heerden. Did I say that correctly?
Van Heerden.
Van Heerden. I can't even pronounce that, man.
So roll the R.
Roll the R. Say it again.
Van Heerden.
Van Heerden. Got it.
Good enough.
So he's a former, IBO world champion, and currently you're ranked top 15 by WBO, professional boxer coming up in the ranks from South Africa. Welcome to the show.
My man, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, man. So tell me about your journey, man. I mean, you're from South Africa, I don't really know a lot of South African boxers.
Very few that made it onto the big scale. But we have legendary fighters like Jerry Coetzee, which was the first WBA heavyweight champion. Let me tell you something about Jerry Coetzee from South Africa. Muhammad Ali said, I refuse to fight Jerry Coetzee over 10 rounds because he'll beat me. He was just something phenomenal. But he had asthma. And Muhammad Ali said, over 15 rounds, there's no way you'll beat me. But over 10, I'll never fight you. And then we had Brian Mitchell, which was, he defended his world title 13 times, not once in his home country. He had to travel, Mexico, America, all over. And Dingon Tubela, Baby J, I can go on. We had phenomenal fighters, and it's because of those guys. We had a guy called White Buffalo Botha, Francois Botha, who fought Mike Tyson. I don't know if you remember. He had a white beard, a big name, big South African boy. And it's because of those guys that I'm sitting here today.
Inspired you. Now, is boxing a big sport in South Africa?
It used to be massive. You used to get 40,000 people in a stadium to watch a local derby. Two local South Africans battling it out in the 80s. Used to sell out 40,000 seats. It used to be a massive sport.
So why was it used to be?
Because there was so many fighters doing it, so many people you could look up to do it. And that's another reason, the main reason I came here is because the sport is dying in South Africa. And I had to look around and say, why is the sport dying in South Africa? And it was because the young kids that's growing up with the love of boxing don't have role models. They don't have someone to look up to and say, but he's in America, he's a South African. If he can do it, I can do it. And dream about boxing. Like I had those people and it started dying. And by the time I came over to America, I looked around and I said, Dad, who is currently doing it? And you want to hear something shocking? I am the only South African.
That's what I'm saying. Because
I am the only South African at this very moment living in America, flying the South African flag.
So you grown up in South Africa, when did you start boxing? I mean, most of the time when I look at the boxing scene, say I look at Floyd Mayweather, his dad boxed. I look like, Roy Jones Jr., his dad was his trainer and he's like beat him up and all that kind of stuff. How did you get started? Was your dad a former boxer?
Yes, sir. My
so
dad.
That was your role model.
I'm one of 7 boys. I've got 6 brothers.
Yeah.
I'm one of 7 boys.
How many kids all total?
You want to hear this? 13.
13 kids.
Six sisters. It's a big culture thing in South Africa.
Your mom had 13 children?
Well, it's. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's one dad, different moms.
Okay,
but we grew up together. One father. We grew up together. I'm one of 7 boys, and I'm the one out of the 7 boys that didn't want to be a fighter. I didn't want to do boxing. I was like you hear people say, a lover than a fighter. I was one of those boys. I was good with interacting with women. I wasn't good at the fighting scene.
So you're growing up.
My dad saw something in me from a very young age. I started fighting when I was 6 years old. Like I said, my dad chose boxing for me. I didn't choose boxing.
So what do you mean you started fighting at 6 years old?
My dad took me to a gym and he said, "You'll fight."
You started putting on the gloves.
You start putting on the gloves and you'll start fighting. And that's why my dad's the biggest influence in my life. It's my dad, my role model, my best friend. My inspiration is my dad, because I looked up to my dad for the man he was, and I wanted to be like my dad.
Oh man!
I wanted to be everything that my dad is. I was trying to be. I wanted to please my dad. He was the most hardworking man I knew, the most genuine man I knew, And for me to look up to, I was looking up to my dad, and my dad was very hard on me. I grew up like this, one of 7 boys, but it was always down to me. So when it came down to the kids wanted pocket money, my dad would say, okay, call Chris. And I would go to my dad would say, put on your running shoes. If you can run a 2.4 mile under this and this time.
Everybody gets pocket money.
Yes, but if you don't,
and nobody makes pocket money.
The kids need to blame you. So I had all that pressure as a kid, and I didn't I didn't understand why.
At the time, yeah.
And then at the age of 18, my dad looked at me and says, I want to tell you why. He said, because I see myself in you. You have what it takes. And that changed my life, because the man I look up to, my hero, my inspiration, looks up to me. That changed my whole mindset.
So, you started boxing at ages 6. You went up the ranks. You won the IBO World Champion. At what weight division were you at that time?
Welterweight division.
147?
147. Turned professional at 19. I'm a man of vision, manifest. If you speak it into existence, and you're willing to work extremely hard, but the most of all, you got to believe what you are talking. And at the age of 19, I told my dad, I said, Dad, when I'm 24, I'll win my first world title. And it slipped my mind. I spoke into this in existence. People laughed in my face. The moment you talk about crazy things like becoming a world champion, people start laughing at you.
Especially like in a country like South Africa, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if you are that kid that doesn't look the part, and you're not supposed to be that guy. Yeah. And I believe that. And 24 years old, I won the world title. I spoke this when I was 19. 24, I won the world title.
I love that. So you had the vision, you spoke it, you believed it, and you put in the work for it.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And you basically spoke it into existence. So how does that play right now into your training and your future boxing and everything that you do?
Nothing has changed. I'm still with the same recipe. If I can see it in a vision, I'm a man of faith. Mm-hmm. I'm a very religious man. And to me, at least, I believe that if I can close my eyes and I can see this vision playing out of my head, that is a gift from God showing me in a vision that this is what I have for your life. What more proof do you need? This is what you got to do now. The tough part, you got to believe it.
God,
and you got to get off the couch and you got to go work extremely hard. Sacrifice for a short period of time. Sacrifice everything you have for that vision. If you can do that, it might not happen. This is one thing I've realized. Things
might not happen on your
time. We want
it
right now. Yeah. And it doesn't happen right now. And that's when the majority of people give up, because it didn't happen. But it's God's timing, man. It's not your time. We're breathing on God's time. Yeah. And you got to wait for His time.
I always said that, God is not going to happen on your time. It's going to happen on God's time. And God always wants to test you to see how bad do you really want it.
Yes, sir.
Nothing's just going to be given to you. He wants to know, hey, go through these trials and tribulations to make sure that He's worthy of His blessing. And it's so funny you say that, man. There's so many times that I've wanted to give up. I want to give up, but I just kept showing up and just kept showing up. And next thing you know, it happened. God doesn't want people to quit on Him. He wants to make sure that they understand to have faith and believe in God and know that He's going to, yes.
Faith, that one word, faith. I am who I am today because of that one word called faith.
Nice. So you basically, got a world title at 24. You're in South Africa. Why all of a sudden did you say, you know what? Because you could have stayed in South Africa. You're doing great. You're making good money. You're known over there. But now you said, I want to come to America. I'm going to leave everything that I have. I'm going to leave my comfort zone. I'm going to leave my country. I'm going to leave everything I have and come to a country where probably nobody knows me. Nobody, because you at that time, I'm sure you were the man in South Africa. Yes, everybody knows you. You go places, everybody's waving at you.
Yes, sir.
And now you come to a new country, you're nobody.
And no one knows.
You know what I mean? So that must have been really hard. And why did you do that?
It was a very tough. It was a very tough decision. Why did I make that decision? Because of a vision. I had this vision since I was 18, 19 years old that I want to be in LA, California. Why LA, California? Because this is the capital of boxing. Yeah. That's why your Manny Pacquiaos are here. This is why your Triple G's are. This is where it is. So I had this vision in my head playing out Since I was a kid, I always saw myself in Hollywood. I saw myself in Los Angeles. I visioned myself with Freddie Roach. I remember.
And by the way, Freddie Roach is your coach, right?
I turned that vision into reality.
Yeah,
I was 19 years old. I'll never forget it. I watched boxing. I watched Freddie Roach, Manny Pacquiao walk to the ring, and I sat with my dad. And my question to my dad was, Dad, do you think I'm good enough? My dad said, you are. You just believe it. You work hard. You're gonna end up there one day. Yeah. And I believed it. Yeah. And in 2015, not only was Freddie Roach my trainer, but I fought in Madison Square Garden. The first time in 65 years in South African fights in Madison Square Garden.
You fought in Madison Square Garden with Freddie Coach in your
Freddie Roach in your corner, and I won the IBF belt in Madison Square Garden. But I saw these things in a vision. But why did I come to America? Because of my vision. 2, the sport was dying of South Africa. Kids had less and less interest in sport of boxing. Why? Because they don't have role models. They don't have people to inspire them. And I looked at it and I said, Dad, the sport is dying. I said, who are these kids? Why? What reason do they have to dream about boxing? I said, who are they looking up to? No one. I said, I'm going to pack my bags and I'm going to go to America. That's it. A lot of people in this world miss the opportunity of success. Why? Because they're afraid to take a risk.
Love that, man.
So I took a risk, and
love that.
And it didn't play out. We think in our head success is one straight line. Yeah. Man, the moment I got here, it started all getting wrinkled up.
You're like, maybe that was a mistake. When you get here at first, it's not what I thought. But then you know what? It was a right move. But you had to, get out of your comfort zone.
I'm a man today because of that move.
Yeah. It made you into a man. So you left your comfort zone. You were making a comfortable living, but you were maxed out. You were maxed out. You were maxed out. You know what I mean?
I was maxed out.
So instead of being the big fish in the small pond, being the fucking man and rolling around, hey, I'm the man, you realize that you might be the man in South Africa, but you don't want to be the man in South Africa. You want to be the man in the world.
Yes, sir.
And for you to do that, you have to now come to America, which makes you the little fish in a big pond, right? So tell me how that was. Tell me a story. Tell me something about you going to the gym, and I can only imagine, you walking into the gym, and going from everybody high-fiving you, everybody loving you, and everybody, they were like, who the fuck are you?
I walked into a gym in Carson. It was The Rock. The gym's name was The Rock. It was a gym full of Mexican fighters. And I walked into the gym with the belt over my shoulder, and no one greeted me. They looked at me like, "Who are you?" And I walked in there with
I got the belt, motherfucker. That's who I am.
With a chip on my shoulder, thinking, "Oh, I'm the man," and no one knew who I was. But more than that, I went from, like you just said, I went from being the big fish in a small pond, living their life. I didn't have to come here. To within moments, and when I say within moments, I mean within a month, 2 months. I can go into this story, but it's too long. I went from sleeping in a luxury apartment to sleeping on a stretcher in a single room. I had to take a bus to where I wanted to go. There was no driving. I had to take a bus. I had no friends. I knew no one. I knew a handful of people.
Now, did your dad come with you?
No.
You just came alone?
I came alone. I came on a vision. This is what I came on. I tell people I came on a vision, prayer, and faith. That's the 3 things I came on. A vision, pray, and faith. That's it. That's all I had. And I ended up from being on top of the world to being as low as a man can go. And when I say as low
by
as
choice.
Sam,
and that's so awesome, because most people do not want to give up their comfort.
That's it.
To go to the high. Sometimes in life you have to understand that you have to take 2 steps backwards to take 5 steps forwards.
Yes, sir.
But everybody doesn't want to go backwards. They want to just keep forward. And sometimes if you're just in the same place, you're limiting yourself, and you knew that, and you were willing to pay the price.
And let me tell you, within 6 months, how many times did it cross my mind that I just wanted to pack my bags and go back to South Africa? I wanted to give up so many times, and every time I come to that point where I want to give up, and I'm so close to giving up, there's 2 things that motivates me. 2 things. It's my vision, because when I close my eyes and go to bed, I still see that same vision I see when I saw when I was 19. I still see that vision. That was the way I was like, as long as I see that vision, God's plan for me, how can I give up on that? And the second thing was, the biggest man in my corner was my dad.
Yeah.
And he looked up to me so much. And every night, you know, in 5 years' time, my dad phoned me every single night. For 5 years, my dad phoned me every single night out of South Africa. And he believed in me. And when I hang up that phone, I'm thinking to myself, how can I give up when there's a man, when the man I look up to still believes in me?
And he looks up to you now. How does that feel?
That's the two things that kept me going.
So tell me about, did you try to get picked up when you came to the United States? Did you try to get signed by, because right now you're signed with one of the top boxing promotions, in America, in the world, which is top ranked Bob Arum, Bob Arum, which has been in the business since, Muhammad Ali, he promoted Muhammad Ali, right?
Yes.
So when you come, how did that go by? How did you get signed by Top Rank? Because that's not easy. That's a pretty huge feat.
Good question. Coming in 2014 as the IBO World Champion, just beating Matthew Hatton, Ricky Hatton's brother.
Yeah.
I came to America and I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm going to walk right into Top Rank's office and I'll get picked up. That's my plan. I had this whole vision in my head. And I walked into Top Rank's office 2014 and they had no interest in me. They turned me away. They said, there's the door. They said, sorry, we just unfortunately not interested in you. And I walked out. I felt crushed, but I didn't give up because I still believe that I have what it takes to be with Top Rank. I am good enough. I said, I just have to prove it to them. So I walked out of Top Rank's office 2014. I didn't get picked up straight away. Eventually So
did you fight after that? Right,
Yeah, so it took me a few months to
get a fight?
You know what, I came to America, like I said, I jumped on a plane. I came here on a tourist visa. I didn't even have a working visa. So I couldn't fight because I wasn't allowed to. But everything got sorted out already. But I got picked up by a small promotion called King's World promotion. With my luck, I signed with Michael King eventually. And he passes away 3 weeks after I'm signing with him from ammonia. So then the company closes down. But anyways, let me go back to the small thing. I walk into Top Rank's office. I get turned away. I never lose hope. I never lose faith. I still believe. At that point, I was like, I am good enough. I just got to prove it to them. And this is one thing, you just mentioned it. If things doesn't go your way, you just got to keep showing up.
Keep showing up, keep going.
You got to keep showing up. So I kept showing up at the gym. I kept showing up. When nothing was going my way, I just kept showing up. It wasn't easy. And then the end of last year, November last year, I get a phone call from Top Rank. Obviously, I had a bunch of wins, and I get a phone call from Top Rank, and they said, we want you. I kept showing up. It took me 4 years. It didn't happen in my time. It happened in God's timing.
So the lesson that I'm getting from this is this. You had a vision that, you're going to come to America, you're going to sign with Bob Rank, and you're going to become this, this boxer, this star, right?
Superstar.
You went to Top Rank. They didn't even look at you. They showed you the door, but you kept working at your craft. You kept doing what you were supposed to do. And instead of you going to them, they came to you. So what I'm seeing this is like you made yourself more attractive rather than going to someone. See, there's two different types you can, it's almost like when you are trying to attract the opposite sex, right? You can go to a place and next thing you know, all you're doing, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby. You know what's going on? And they're like, dude, like what the hell, right? Or you can just stand there and be confident, know that you got it, and they just come to you. Yes, so you went and worked on your craft. You went and fought. You whooped some ass. You whooped some ass, right? And then they're like, well, you know what? This guy's good. Maybe we should consider him. And now you got picked out by one of the top promoters. And I believe, man. You're kicking ass right now. I think the only loss you have on your record is with the world champion Errol Spence, which is he's.
If you want to lose to someone, you want to lose to him.
Yeah, he's one of the top pound for pound.
Top 3 pound. I would say top 5.
Top 5
between him, Canelo, Lomachenko, Terence Crawford. Top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world.
So if you have one loss to that man, you'll accept it.
Yes, sir. Like I said, if anybody, I'd choose to lose to him.
Yeah. So what's next for you, bro? I mean, what's next for you? If you when you close your eyes right now, what do you see?
I see myself fighting Terence Crawford for the WBO world title. I see myself eventually have a rematch with Errol Spence. That's what I see for myself. I came here and I said, I won a world title once in South Africa, in my backyard. I'm going to go to a foreign country, which is America, and I'm going to do it all over again and prove that it does not matter where you're from. It comes down to what do you have inside of you? How much are you willing to give? And that is what it's coming down to. And I want to prove it to the people and the kids, the young kids in South Africa. I want to show them that it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter. It comes down to
don't make it
about
the environment. It's about you.
What do you have inside of you?
One of my mentors told me that it doesn't matter what the past was. Only thing that matters is where you are right now, what are you willing to go, and the price you're willing to pay to get there. So speaking about the price, I mean, you already paid the price of leaving a comfortable life, your comfort, coming to America, being somebody to come and be nobody. Now you worked your way back up. Tell me about your routine. I'm dying to see what is a normal day of training, and what's your normal day look like?
Okay, let's. I'm going to cut it down to a Monday and a Tuesday because Monday and Tuesday is usually the routine. A Monday would be my sparring days. So you would wake up. I'd be at the gym at 10 a.m. in the morning, get ready for sparring, which is the toughest part. Sparring is usually 10 rounds. It's taxing, it's tiring. So we'll do our sparring. Sparring in the whole session is about 2 hours. I'll go home, have a meal, go home, relax a little bit. Tonight I'll be back in the gym with my strength and conditioning coach, and we'll do our workout. Okay. Tuesday is up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I will be at the track in Santa Monica at like 4:45. We start doing our road work, start running. At 12 o'clock, I'll be back in the gym, start doing my boxing, my pad work, the strategy for what we will do in the fight, which is another 2 hours. I'll go home, and then tonight at 6 o'clock will be another small cardio, stretching, flexible session, which is 3 sessions a day. And that continues for 8 weeks. Now, that's all easy. Everyone knows how to train. There's no surprise. I know that if I'm going to be in a world title fight, the guy on the other side of the corner, he's well conditioned. I mean, there's no secret to it. It comes down to the nutrition. It comes down to the diet. It comes down to what am I doing when I'm not in the gym? What am I doing?
So it's kind of the same as bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, everybody knows, because I bodybuild at the highest level. I know the training.
Everyone knows the training.
But then when you come home, what do you eat? What do you put in your body? So that's the same with boxing, right?
Tough part. Exactly.
That's what when I see some boxers have a tough time because during off season they blow up so much. Now they have to cut back all this weight back, and now they drain themselves.
Absolutely. I'm right now. I'm off season. I'm nothing more than 8 to 10 pounds overweight. That's it. I always.
So if you fight at 147, you're probably about like 157 now.
157 right now.
And then with 10 pounds, you can do that like that.
And that's because I'm dedicated. And I'm staying true and loyal to my craft. People say, why do you love boxing so much? I said, because that's the only sport, that's the only thing that keeps me honest. Mm-hmm. Like I can walk out here and I can tell you anything about boxing and you'll believe me. But when I step into that gym, into that ring, and I have to show everything, I need to back it up. It will show whether I'm in shape or not. Shows. And that's why I love boxing so much, because it keeps me true to my craft.
I've heard a commentator in boxing say, everything you do in training shows up on the match.
That's it.
Everything you do or don't do shows up at the match. You know what I mean?
Sir, yes, sir.
So I'm fascinated by boxing. I love the sport. I love the science. Out of all the boxers, in your generation, who do you think is the absolute best boxer in our generation?
Right now, Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah, he's a big dude, isn't he?
Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. And when we go to the heavyweight division, Andy Ruiz would just
let's talk about that, bro.
Let me tell you this. I trained in Carson, in the gym with Andy Ruiz, watching this guy train. I mean, one, let me tell you this, he's the sweetest guy you'll meet. He's so humble.
Can tell, yeah.
He's such a humble, nice, genuine guy. But then you look at his body and you go, how much can he actually deliver? And then you start watching him move and you're like,
bro.
So when the fight came up with Andy Ruiz, I was like, I remember everyone making fun and said, look at this guy, it looks like a donut.
You knew.
They said, it looks like a donut. I said, wait till you see this guy start throwing punches. I said, don't let his looks fool you.
It's deceiving me, bro.
And man, I mean, that was, I don't want to say I was surprised because I wasn't surprised. When he stood off, when he got dropped, I was like, oh man, but he stood up. And then to finish the way he finished, that's what makes a true champion.
Bro, so now they have Andy Ruiz has a rematch coming up. And I think in Saudi Arabia, you know, and how do you see that fight going?
Andy Ruiz, I'm gonna give it to him again.
You know, and I'm gonna have to say the same thing because I think he has his number. I think he has his number. You know, he knows. Because he didn't have an answer. Now we know. Like
you said, he's got his number.
Yeah, and the first fight, God, what was his opponent's name? The champion?
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, Anthony Joshua. He did not have an answer for him.
His world got shook. He got shook. And
he couldn't keep the distance. Andy just keep coming.
You know what makes Andy so good? He's a counter puncher. You touch him, he fires back 3, 4, 5. The moment you touch him, it's like
it's coming. It's coming. Blah, blah, blah. It's coming.
And it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, it's coming.
So I got Ruiz in a rematch. You as well?
I think I have him as well, man. I don't think Anthony Joshua is going to have an answer for him based on what I saw before. And then I know Anthony Joshua and Wilder were going at it for a long time about who's better. And when Anthony Joshua, you got stopped, Wilder was making all these claims. And how do you think that fight is going to go between Wilder, and Ruiz, if that ever materializes?
Ruiz, the Mexican, is the man right now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think.
But that doesn't get my interest. Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah, it was coming up. We're going to the fight.
What are your predictions?
I don't see that fight being stopped.
I agree.
I don't see that fight being stopped because I don't think. Well, first of all, I don't think Porter has anything to stop Errol Spence with, and Errol Spence has the punch to. But I don't think Sean is going to give him the chance to, get anything significant in. So, Sean is going to make it into a dogfight. He's going to come charging. He's going to get putting against the rope, trying to hit the body. And Earl is going to try to do what Earl does, try to keep the distance. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go a distance, and I think Errol Spence is going to win in a decision. What do you think?
No, I'm with you. If we see a stoppage, it will be late. Errol Spence, I can talk because I've been in there with him.
You fought with him.
My only loss came to Errol Spence, so I can talk. His body work is phenomenal. And the thing that makes Spence so special, it's not just only that he knows how to manage his distance, it's that every single punch that he throws is at an 80% power punch. So
you feel every punch.
So you feel the jab. From a jab to a power punch, it's all
power punch.
It's taxing, and it takes so much out of you.
You told me off the camera that he kept hitting you, and then next thing you know, in the fourth round, you felt your legs giving out.
Yeah, I mean, round 1, 2, and 3, he hits me, and I was like, oh, I can take this stuff all night long. I said, there's no way he knocks me out. I said, my toughness is there. I mean, he's not going to knock me out. And then I remember going into round 4, and I tried moving around, and I couldn't move my legs, and I realized that he was just chopping me down.
Yeah, accumulation of those punches.
And
yeah.
I was like, okay, this is going to be a long night. I mean, when you hit round 4 and you realize there's 6 more rounds left, it becomes a mental game.
And you went the distance with him?
9 rounds.
9 rounds.
And it became a mental game. And I lost that fight mentally.
Is that the fight that your coach wasn't in your corner?
Yes.
So
the viewers don't know that.
It's funny because now that you say that, and we were I remember watching your fight. I remember watching that fight, and I remember the commentator saying, the Freddie Roach is not in this fighter's corner because he had to go and take care of Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, he was busy with something else, and I mean the most important fight of my life, of my career at that moment, the most important night of my career, the most important man other than myself showing up did not show up. And that's my training.
And did you expect him to show up, or
Yes,
did you?
yes.
I mean, he didn't tell you, "Hey, man, I won't be there, but here's the strategy."
No.
You were expecting him to show up, and he didn't show up.
No, when it all the doubt started getting into my mind when he made me flew out to Canada, man alone, and he's like, "Oh, I just got to take care of some business, but I'll be there tomorrow." So I flew out to come to Canada alone, hoping for him to show up. Hoping he will, and then I got that phone call that no fighter wants to get, and he told me he's not going to show up. So mentally, I gave up.
So let me ask you a question, man. I mean, how did you ever have a conversation with Freddie about that, and after the fight, and be like, "Hey, dude, hey, you're my coach. I understand that you got Pacquiao, but I also have needs, and I need you in my corner when it's the biggest night of my fight."
I respect Freddie. I've got so much respect for him. There's so much love between us, and to this day, we respect each other. But right after my fight, I had to go back to the gym, and it was impossible for me to act as everything was okay.
Of course, I mean,
because I knew I was going to get back to a point where I'm going to fight for world title. And Sam, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to fight for world title,
and you will,
and I will, and you'll be like, he told me so. But I had to be honest with myself. I said, am I willing to stay with Freddie? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Mm-hmm. And this happening again, and I had to make a choice where I had to look at Freddie and say, "Freddie, I'm going to go a different route. All respect, but I'm going to have to go a different route." And we shook hands and we split ways, and no bad blood between us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, who's your current trainer?
Brian Viloria, the Hawaiian Punch, 4 times world champion. I mean, who do you want in your corner than a man that's been there, done that 4 times, not once, but 4 times? Lovely relationship between me and Brian. He gets me, I get him. We got a very good relationship.
Synergy.
Friend and fighter coach relationship. I mean, I had 2 fights with him under top rank, 2 of my best outings. Everyone is surprised, and the best is yet to come.
Love it. So I'm going to name some fighters right now. I don't want you to tell me what you think of them.
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Amazing.
Okay.
Phenomenal. I mean,
would you? He calls himself the best ever. Do you think he's the best ever?
He's one of the best ever. Yeah, you can't deny that. I mean, if you look at his resume, the champions that he's beaten, call it what you want. Call it what you want. Bring me someone that can take. People say, "Yeah, but he's so defensive." Well, that's his style.
Yeah, that's his style. Yeah.
Bring me a Mexican fighter. Bring me any fighter that can take him out of his style. You can't. Why not? Because he's just so good at what he does.
Well, the name. People don't understand this. The general media want to see a lot of punches and a lot of knockouts and knockdowns, right? That's what they want to see. But the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit.
That's it.
That's anybody can throw punches and get countered at the same time. Basically comes. It's like MMA. Whoever gets in the first right good punch is going to win.
You're absolutely
right? And boxing is a little different. Boxing is like, okay, you got to be able to move and be able to hit and counter and not get hit.
Yeah.
So
Floyd Mayweather, he deserves to be called the greatest. Like if he deserves it. I'm not going to tell you who's the greatest, but he deserves it.
How about Canelo Alvarez?
Beast. I had the pleasure of working with him back in 2014. Phenomenal. I mean, he just gets better. He's 30 years old. He's now jumping up 2 weight divisions to fight
I can't
Kovalev.
believe that. When is that fight?
Light heavyweight.
When is that fight?
November 2nd at light heavyweight. I mean, this kid comes from 154 to light heavyweight.
What is that? 168, isn't it?
178.
178?
178.
Holy shit!
From 154 to 178.
Yeah. I gotta. I think he.
Canelo Alvarez is probably now the most decorated, pound for pound, could be number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world right now.
What do you think of Triple G?
Beast, 38 years old. Beast. Did he lose to Canelo in the rematch? Yes, he did. The first one I gave to Triple G.
I did too.
The first one I gave to Triple G.
Well,
the second one I gave to Canelo.
Me too.
But at 38 years old, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see.
We've seen his better days.
Yeah,
basically.
that's it.
But I mean, that guy's cardio is just ridiculous.
Man.
Like he doesn't run out of breath. He comes like 12 rounds.
I want people to keep him on. 38 years old, 39. It's like a Pacquiao at 40, 30, 41.
Yeah.
still champion.
Yeah. What do you think of Manny Pacquiao still fighting though?
At turning 41 years old, I don't want to see him fight Errol Spence. I don't want to see him
I don't want to see him fight Errol Spence either.
I don't want to see him fight Errol Spence. I don't want to see him fight Terence Crawford. He can fight a guy maybe like Danny Garcia, because of the only reason I say that is because he's not as explosive, not as aggressive. But Manny Pacquiao at 41, it speaks for himself. 8 times world champ, 10 times world champion. Legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yep. Yep. What do you think of Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali.
The greatest.
Rode like a, yes.
The
Yes,
greatest.
I mean, what makes a champion is when you lose and get knocked down and not get knocked out in life, and you get back, and you get back in and you win a title and you keep going. That plays a big part of it. Muhammad Ali. My favorite fighter of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar Ray Leonard. And why is he your favorite?
Just his charisma, his attitude, the way he moves in the ring, his hand speed, his finesse, and he was a welterweight.
Yeah.
My dad was a Evander Holyfield fan and a Muhammad Ali fan. Me much Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had lunch one time with Evander Holyfield.
Yes.
And this was probably about 8 years ago. He was one of my friend's house, and I went over, and man, I went to tap him on the shoulder, and he was like a rock, right? And I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you still work out? He goes, Sam. He goes, I know if I stop working out, it's so much harder for me to start again.
It's a lifestyle.
So it's just a lifestyle, man. And I don't know if you know, man. That fool can dance.
Yes.
We went to a club. We went to a club, and Evander was on the dance floor the whole night.
Wow.
He was just dancing with everybody, having a good time. Right now, boxing, in my opinion, and I think we talked about it off camera, is bigger than ever.
Yes.
Now now it's on free TV. Now we have the Zone and the ESPNs. Now we can Fox and all that kind of stuff. And I think the future is bright, and the future is bright for you.
Absolutely. Like we just said, boxing has never been bigger. Financially, never been bigger. Viewers-wise, never been bigger. I mean, you can now watch it on ESPN, The Zone, Fox Sport. Boxing is free for the public right now. And like we just said, financially, if you can break through that gap of the top 15, top 10 in the world, and you can fight a little bit, the world can be your oyster.
Yeah. What do you see yourself after it's all said and done? You fight Terence Crawford. You win your rematch with Errol Spence, and now you say you comes down one day that you retire.
Sam, what gives me joy is to sit in a room, and I do this all the time when I go back home to South Africa. I visit schools, and I go speak to kids, and I give back, and to look a kid in the eye and tell him that you can, whatever you're dreaming of,
You can do it.
you can do it. And to share my testimonies and my stories and see these kids, their faces light up. I like motivating youth. I do enjoy that. Where do I see myself? I'll probably always be in a gym. So I see myself, and I've got some interest of people that's talking about investing and me opening up a gym and all of that. And that's definitely a plan, because I always see myself doing that. But motivating youngsters, motivating kids, sharing my story, my testimony, because I do believe I've got a powerful testimony, and inspiring the youth, man. That gives me passion now. That gives me joy.
I know. I'm going to ask a hard question, and I apologize ahead of time.
No.
And if you don't want to talk about this, we can edit this, later on. I know you lost your dad recently.
Yeah.
And I know he was your biggest supporter, and you looked up to him so much, and he looked up to you. And God, I'm getting sad even talking about it. How that happened, and how is that affecting you?
Sam, thanks for asking that question, because I wanna touch on that topic. I lost the man that was the biggest influence in my life, my rock, my motivation, my dad. I lost my best friend, not just my dad.
Yeah.
I remember, because of the time change in South Africa and here, it's 9 hours. I remember going to bed. It was morning in South Africa, And morning South Africa, it was nighttime here. And I got a phone call from my dad that night. Like every time he would phone me, and he said, my son, how are you doing? I love you, have a good night. Little did I know that it would be the last time
you speak to him.
And I fell asleep and I woke up the next morning to a phone call. That I lost him. And I didn't want to believe it. And I lost my dad. And first I want to say this. Now more than ever, I feel him with me, man.
Yeah.
His presence is with me.
His spirit is with
now
you.
more than ever, I can feel my dad's with me. I've got a new purpose. The toughest thing for me was to forgive the man that took my dad's life. And I found it in me to forgive him. But let me tell you what it's politically motivated. And the view is, I bet most people don't know this. What's going on, and I know it's going on around the world, there's trouble all over, but for a second I want to bring the attention to South Africa. And it's politically motivated. And I'm going to call it like it is straight out because that's what it is. It's politically motivated in South Africa at the moment to kill the white man. If you're a white man, kill him. You got politicians, and you can Google this stuff. I'm not making this up. You'll be shocked. The EFF, the BLF, the ANC, these politicians, especially the EFF and the BLF, they stand on a podium on national television, on radio, and they encourage the killing of the white man. They sing songs about it. They say, hey.
Why?
Because they want to get back at, the history of my country is not too bright. And the apartheid back in the 60s, 70s, what was going on in the country, I don't agree with. But the country was in good hands. When I say the country was in good hands, it was going up. Because of hardworking men and the way the country was run. But now, since Nelson Mandela became president in '94, the wheels has turned, and the power went into the ANC, which is the black government, and they were like, wait, now we're going to get back at these people. Now we're in a position in South Africa where it comes down to, you guys don't belong here. This is Africa. Go back to Netherlands, go back to Holland, go back to where you're from, and if you don't pack your bags and go, because the land you're living on belongs to us, we're just going to kill you. So it's on national TV, on national television, on a daily basis, you'll get the politicians encouraging and motivating the killing of the white man. And the reason I say it's politically motivated is, it's on national TV. The reason I forgave the guy that took my dad's life is because he doesn't know better. He's a family man, but if he puts on his television and reads about these things and hear these things, call it what you want, I call it brainwash. These people becomes brainwashed.
So he works for the government?
No, he doesn't work for the government. He works for a big security firm that works for the government. He doesn't work for the government, he works for a big company.
And was it just no reason? He just thought his own?
You know, my dad has a company of his own. And the sad thing is, of all of this, is my dad tried to prevent a crime. So my dad saw this guy and his entourage stealing. So my dad confronted them. And this is on YouTube. There's footage of the guy shooting my dad.
What?
And the man is still sitting at home. The man is the guy, the guy on the footage is the guy with the gun. My dad is without anything, and he shoots my dad in the back, on camera. And still, nothing has been done about it, because this is the state of South Africa at the moment. It's corrupt. The government is corrupt. The law is corrupt. And so my dad confronted this guy on camera about stealing. And the guy just pulled out a gun on camera and said to my dad, hey, get in your car and leave. My dad turned his back and walked away and got shot in his back, because the man saw the fear in my dad's eyes. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to have fun. They shot my dad. And unfortunately, this is what's happening in South Africa at the moment, and we need help. Because I've got over 60 siblings back home, and I don't know when I'm going to get another phone call. At the moment, right now, they're killing each other. It's called the xenophobia attacks, where they burn people.
I didn't know that.
You'll be shocked. Just take a moment today and Google.
Right.
So the farmers are being murdered in South Africa for their land. The white farmers are being killed for their land. And then they're killing each other.
Yeah, that's just...
It's sad. And my dad's life was taken too soon. And I've got a new purpose in life, and that's to bring awareness to because I'm all about love, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm all about love, equal rights. I'm all about freedom. I'm all about peace. I'm all about that, Sam.
Well, I mean, I'm shocked, you know, that you are, you know, because you're a man of faith, you're able to forgive and move forward. You know, I'm not sure if I have that strong of a faith, you know.
What good am I? What good am I if I don't? Then I'm just one of them.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And,
you know, it's easier said than done, though. You know, you're somebody who's actually not only saying it, but you're doing it. Yes, a lot of people are saying it, but they cannot do it. You know, I can say it on one side,
yes,
and until it happens to me, you know, I want to go back and shoot everybody. You know what I mean? And I have nothing but respect for you. You know, you just showed that your faith is strong, your faith is real, and you're not somebody who, for you to sit down here and tell me, I forgive the man that shot my dad, that takes undeniable discipline,
yes, faith,
and courage, you know, to be able to do that. And I want to commend you and recognize you for that, you know. And if you had to, you know, say a few things to the upcoming youth, you know, because I know how much you love kids and want to motivate the kids, and you're all about inspiration. Man, you know, what would you tell, you know, let's just say, you know, I have you saw my son earlier, you know, my son grows up and be a big fan of yours, and all of a sudden he comes up to you and, hey, you know, I want to be like you, you know, Chris, you know, what would you tell him?
First thing I'll tell him is, you know, you don't want to be like me. You want to be better than me. You don't want to be like me. You want to be better than me, and you can do it. You can be better than me. The first thing I'll tell them is, like, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
You just don't put your future in the hands of another person by dictating the outcome of your life, but telling you what you can and cannot do. It's what do you believe. And the first thing I'll tell you is that you are good enough. You can do and achieve whatever you set out to do and achieve, if you believe it and you work extremely hard at it.
And have faith.
The biggest thing is, and thanks for reminding, it's faith. You know, believe, have faith, work extremely hard, dream big. Don't just dream average. Dream big, and you can do it. Don't stop. Don't stop. This is something someone once told me, and it's stuck with me. We are so easily, when you fail at something, when you attempt something for the first time, and you fail at it the first time, we are labeled as, you failed. Yeah. And we give up just because of that idea of you failed. I'll tell you this, and this is what I'll tell kids. Never ever let failing make you feel like a failure. That's a big thing. Failing at anything in life does not mean you're a failure. And it took me a while to get that. And once I got that, it meant to me, you know, as long as I keep showing up, keep knocking, and I keep trying, no one has the right to call me a failure. So I'll tell you this, if you fail once, twice, 100 times, as long as you keep showing up and keep trying again, you are not a failure.
Yeah, keep trying, man. I love it, man. I just kind of random question just popped in my head, you know. Have you ever been knocked out cold? In all the times that, all the times that you fought, amateur and pro and all that kind of stuff, have you ever been knocked out cold?
Touch wood.
Touch wood. No.
Never.
Because I always wondered.
I've never been knocked out. I've never been knocked out. I've never been dropped to the jaw. I've never been, not in sparring, not in... The only time I've ever been dropped in my whole career, my whole life, was by Errol Spence to a body shot.
Yeah.
It was just too much. And but I've never been knocked out.
You know, the reason I asked you, because I always want to feel like, what does it feel like when you wake up? Because I saw Manny Pacquiao, when Juan Manuel Marquez had him clean and he was out and they had to get the salts and everything like that.
And I've never been knocked out.
You know what I mean? And okay, have you, you know, I know at one time, you know, I think it was your last fight where, you know, you got headbutted.
Yeah.
You know, and you had, you know, blood
Two
coming
cuts
out.
all over.
You know, blood all over your, you know, face and everything. How were you managed to be able to go through that adversity and still fight back and win?
Knowing my why, Sam. Knowing my why.
I mean, your blood is flowing down. And
I remember going to round 3 and I had blurry vision. I could barely see who I was fighting. I could not make out. I could see that I had blurry vision because of all the blood running into my eyes. And I kept talking to myself in my head. And one thing is, I pray while I fight, while I'm busy fighting. I pray. I talk to God. I say, God, you gotta show up now.
Tell me which one to
I
hit,
said, you
God.
gotta move my feet right now. I said, you gotta move my feet. But knowing my why keeps me going.
Yeah.
Knowing why I'm doing it. Knowing what is at stake. And that's. I know why I wake up in the morning, Sam. Yeah. I know why I wake up.
Well, what a story, brother. What an inspiration. You know, there we are, you know, at 6 years old in South Africa, you started boxing. You know, your dad had 13 kids. You're one of 13 kids. One of 7 boys. And you were the only one that was a lover, not a fighter.
Yes,
but your dad saw something in you and wanted, took a special interest in you, of you becoming a fighter. He was your hero. He was a man you looked up to. You know, you went on boxing in a country that boxing was dying. You know, in a society where everybody always has something negative to say and small-minded and you know, they say, well, you won't be anything. You might be the man here, but you won't be the man there. You become the, you know, IBO world champion. You were very popular in your former country, South Africa. You were doing good, but you decided, you know what, I'm doing good. I might be the man here, but I just don't want to be the man here. I want to become the best I can be. And the only way I can be the best that I can be is leave the small pond and go to a big pond. And you thought, you know, you knew it was going to be hard, but you know it was going to be this hard. Yeah, I think it was probably harder than any boxing match you ever had, you know, coming to America. I remember coming to America. I came here when I was 11 years old, you know, and you can see my story. But coming to America was the hardest thing for me. You know, I was 11 years old. I came to America. I didn't speak the language. I went to a Sharon, Pennsylvania, which is a little town in the middle of nowhere, America. I wasn't black. I wasn't white. So it was tough growing up. It was tough growing up, you know. And you came to this country, not knowing anybody, alone, you know, alone, no mom, no dad, no, you know, brothers or anything like that. I came here alone with just a dream, a vision, and faith, you know, and prayers. Yes, you went to the gym. You had your belt around it. You thought, somebody would greet you, and nobody even knew who you were. You know, you started from the bottom. You know, you had to take the bus and all that kind of stuff to training. You know, you went from living into a luxurious apartment penthouse to like sleeping on the street. Sleeping on the street. You know, because you had, you were willing to give up the comfort zone for something greater later, because you knew that even though that was your comfort zone, you were maxed out. But for you to become something greater, you had to start all over again, and you didn't mind starting at 0, which most people weren't able to do. You thought you're going to get signed up for Top Rank. You walked in, they basically showed you the door. You know, but instead of just keep going back to Top Rank, keep going back to Top Rank, keep going back to Top Rank, you say, you know what? I'm just going to become better and better and better. You went back to your craft. You got better. You trained hard. You won a few fights. Instead of trying to attract people, you became more attractive, and you attracted the other people to you. And now you're signed with Top Rank, Bob Arum, the biggest promoter of all time, the promoter of Muhammad Ali. And now you're waiting for your shot at the World Championship.
We're right there.
And tomorrow, we're going to watch Errol Spence Jr. and Shawn Porter together.
I got to see the man that beat me. I got to see him in business. I got to see him do it again.
It'll be fun, man. Thank you, Chris van Eeren.
Van Heerden.
Van Heerden. See, I got to
Much
practice.
better.
I got to do that like 100 times to be able to get that. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate
you
it.
so
Looking
much,
forward
Sam.
to seeing your rise to the champion as a champion. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing you make an impact. Because I know championship is one thing for you, but you're not just looking for becoming a champion. You're looking to make an impact for the youth, impact for your country, and impact for everything that's going on, man. And I want to give my on camera, I want to give my deepest condolences to you for losing your dad. Not too long ago. He was your best friend. He was your mentor, somebody you looked up to. And I know that he's going to be there in spirit, and he's going to see you rise to the top. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.